Hello, I'm Claire from createdtheottaway. Thank you for joining me today. I've got a lovely little card, a fun fold called a Dutch fold card. I've made it out of the new paper from Celebration that you can earn free, the flower and field one. I really like these papers. They just lend themselves so well to each other. So you can see that's how it opens, and this little panel at the front, actually when you stand it up, it will rest on these two sidebars. I like using both sides of the paper as well. I find it quite difficult to decide which I like best. So the fact that the lighter side is inside and you can still write your message on it, that pleases me enormously. So how do we make this? You can see it folds down flat to go in an envelope. So let's start. So you are going to need some A4 card. I've used black because it coordinates with the paper really well. And a sheet of 12 by 12 from the Flower and Field Designer Series paper. There's a few different choices that you can go with. You're going to need one pattern for the inside and one pattern for the outside. So pick wisely. I'm going to make one exactly the same, so that's this pattern because the other side is like this, and that goes perfectly for the inside of my card. So the piece of card we need for the base needs to measure 4 inches by 10 inches. So I've already got quite a few scraps hanging around, so I'm going to try and use one of those from cards that I've previously made. So let's have a look. Is this for? Oh, it's slightly wider. Is this one for? That's slightly wider as well, so it doesn't matter which one I use. So I'm going to trim that up so that it's 4 inches wide, and it needs to be by 10 inches. So we're just going to open that out, find the 10 inches, line my paper up with the 10, and then cut the excess off. So that's my piece that is 4 by 10, and I need to score it at 5 7/8. So I'm not going to need this arm anymore. I'm going to put that arm back in. 5 7/8, and remember we're just scoring this. So 5 7/8, and that gives you your score line, and then that is one part of my card. Okay, and then to make these little doors at the bottom, okay, you need a piece that is 2 inches by 8 1/8. So let's do the 2 inches to start with. 2 inches. And we're going to need to open that arm out again. This is where I wish I'd cleared my desk a bit better. 8 and 1/8. There. 8 1/8. Okay, so this actually is going to wrap around. Let's put that arm back. That's going to wrap around the bottom of your card here, but you want to get it evenly spaced. So you are going to score on either end of this piece at 2 1/16, which is just the very first line past the 2. So we're just going to lightly score. Can you see that? Is it scored? Not very much. I'm not pressing too hard, but I need it hard enough that I can see there is a mark there. And the same with this. And again, I'm not pressing too hard, but just so I can see there's a mark. Because what I need to do is put this on the bottom of my paper there, like so. Now I need to fold this round and then this side round and make sure that it meets in the middle. And then when I'm really happy that that meets in the middle, then I press down on those score lines really firmly and drop the bone folder. Okay, so when I'm happy with that, I'm then going to stick that. So I'm going to put some glue along this bottom bit here. I'll use Tombow glue because it gives me a bit of wiggle room. Oh, looks like I'm nearly out. So that's just going to go on there. And again, line it up, make sure that they come round and that they join in the middle. And that is the base of your Dutch fold card. Now you can see that this bit just slightly overlaps, and when you normally do a Dutch fold card, that you just leave it like this. But I've seen a couple of different ones on Pinterest where they've got the panel on the front, and I just thought it looked really, really effective. So that's what we're going to do on this one. And then these two little doors end up being a prop or a stand for this bit to go on. So now we just need to decorate this. So the inside piece is the back and the front piece is this piece. So the size that we need for that, if we do the inside first and then that's done, so we need it to be 3 7/8 because it's going to be just an 1/8 of an inch smaller than the black card by 4. Is that right? Doesn't sound right to me. 5 3/4. So I will just repeat that. So you're doing the inside of your card, and we've done 3 7/8 by 5 3/4, and that is just going to go on that panel there. Okay, so I'm going to glue that in so I don't forget which bit is which. Like I said, I've done a lighter piece. I've picked a lighter piece of designer series paper for the inside, simply because then I can still write my message on, but it's not just a plain white piece of card. I think it finishes it off having this nice pattern on the inside. So when you're picking your designer series paper to use, go for one that is slightly lighter. So if I write on black biro now, you will still see that. Okay, so then next I'm going to decorate this piece, and I'm using the other side because it exactly matches with the colour, and this needs to be 3 7/8 by 4. So 3 7/8, and it needs to be by 4. Okay, let's have a look at that. So that is going to go on there. Perfect. So I'm going to stick that on as well. Do it as I go. Again, using Tombow glue, just because you get that bit of wiggle room. Isn't that pretty, that paper? Just really goes nice with the black and the bumblebee colour. Okay, so now you've just got these two little doors to do, and they should be 2 inches. Let's have a little check before we do that. I'm sure they are 2 inches. So now comes your conundrum. Which pattern do you use on these pieces, or do you, like me on this, do it a slightly different colour but the same shades. So one of the other pieces of paper that are in the pack is just beautiful, but it's Daisy's one side and that the other, but because it's got Granny Apple Green in it, it really matches. So have I got some offcuts of that? Oh look, I've got one there. So let's use this. So I'm going to use that little square up as I've just found it. So I'm doing 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. See if that fits on there. Perfect. So now I need another one like that. So 1 7/8. Let's cut that bit off there. And then if I make some more of these cards, I've already got the right size. 1 7/8. So these bits are going to go on the front. You could decorate the inside as well if you want, because they are standing open, but I'm not going to for this. 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. So a little square from the front of there. Okay, that's one, and this is the other one. Oh, glue really is running out. That should be enough though to make it stick. There. So that's there. Now I need the front panel. So I quite liked the effect of this behind my white piece that I stamped. So I'm going to do that again. So the size of this as my background frame for my stamping piece is 3 by 4.5. So I'm hoping that there's enough here that I can get away with this piece. There's 3 by 4.5. Perfect. That's going to be my piece for the front there. And now I need a piece of the white, basic white, and that needs to be just 1/8 of an inch smaller. So it will be, what was it, 3, so it'd be 2 7/8, 2 7/8 by 4 3/8, because it was 4.5, wasn't it? So 4 3/8. Is that right? 4 3/8, not 3. That was lucky then. I nearly cut it too small. 4 3/8. So that's going to be my piece that goes on there, just as a border. So how did I decorate it before? Let's have a look. I used the stamp from the Dragonfly Garden, a sentiment from that, and one of the dragonflies themselves. So I'm just going to get my little stamping mat and move these bits out of the way and just concentrate on the stamping. So I am going to use the Dragonfly Garden, and I'm going to use the long floral stamp. So I've got my block. I'm going to put it on diagonally just because it will give me more grip. And I'm going to use StazOn because I'm going to do some watercolour pencil on it, because I don't want it to be a really in-your-face. Look at that. I've just stamped that with that on. Oh my goodness me. There. I wonder why no ink was coming out. Okay, I think I need a little bit of scrap paper to put behind here so I can go off my paper. You'll see what I mean in a minute. It's because I'm going to stamp right over the edge. And my card, so I want the flower quite tall and almost all on. Look, so there is it. And I'm just going to stamp once more with the same ink, just to give it a bit of shadow. Okay, so there's that. And while we're here, I'm going to stamp the sentiment, okay, with the same stays on. May good things grow all year long. Okay. And the other thing I'm going to stamp is a dragonfly, so I can colour that at the same time. So let's choose a dragonfly, and I need a separate bit of white and my stays on, and I'm just going to stamp that there. Okay, so that's my stamping done. Lovely. So now I'm going to colour these. Now, if you can see on my original card, I've done a bit of shading round with one of the new brushes that Stampin' Up have got. One of these, and I just dab that in the bumblebee ink. Like that. Okay, let's move this done one. So I'm going to turn it around, so I'm sort of doing it upside down because I'm doing circular movements in. And just keep going because you feel like there's no ink on it, but there really is. Okay, and I think that is enough because I don't want to be overpowering. But I'm just going to do the dragonfly as well, because I don't want a harsh white background on the dragonfly. Okay, so that's that done as well. Now I'm going to get my watercolour pencils. Okay, I'm just going to choose a couple of colours. This colour, which is crushed curry, and this colour, which is cherry cobbler. Oh, I need a green as well. Let's get a green. And this one's garden green. So for the flowers, let's bring that over. I'm just going to do a couple of lines on the petals, and I will blend it in a minute. Again, I'm using watercolours because I don't want it to be in your face colouring, just quite watercoloury and subtle. Okay, and then some green. Again, I don't want loads of colour on it, just a bit here and there. And then I get my Stampin' Up blender. Just make sure it's got no colour on it. And just go all over the same colour, and then wipe it clean before you go on to another colour. And you can see how careful I'm not being, because I just want it to be a bit watercoloury. And then the green. And the green you can really sort of move around and add to different bits. Put it on bits that you haven't even added it to, and it will just show through. You see? So if you look really closely, whoops, there, you can see it's not the best colouring, but it's watercoloured, so you can get away with it. Okay, and then the dragonfly. The dragonfly, I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to put some lines on in the crushed curry and the red. And again, I'm not being the best at colouring, and I'm just going to merge those. Give it more of a subtle colour rather than strong colours. Okay. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some wink of Stella, just because I want the dragonfly wings to really stand out and sparkle. So you're just brushing it on really over the wings. Just make sure that there's some coming out, and then leave that to dry while you put it together. Okay, you probably won't be able to see that on camera, but it has got a definite sparkle. So let's bring our card back in. All our bits. I'm going to stick this to the back of there. Oh, perfectly coloured, stamped with a sentiment piece. I'm just going to add that to there. Just give it a nice frame with the designer series paper. You could leave a bigger border around. I quite like the tiny border. Now, to place it on, I want it sort of in the middle, about there. Okay, so I'm just putting glue on this top piece here, so because it's going to overhang. Okay, so that's my top piece. Bring it back in, make sure they're in place. That goes on there like that. That's my card, like that, like so. Just hold it for a moment. Then my dragonfly. Okay, I'm going to have to cut that across so that I can fit it in the punch. Okay, we're nearly there, ladies. Thank you for bearing with me. And I hope you enjoy making this Dutch fold card. Okay, that's the dragonfly done. Just going to bend his wings up either side of his body and put a little bit of glue on his body along there. Okay, not too much, I don't want it coming out everywhere. And then I just need to figure out where I want the dragonfly. I want to be able to see the sentiment, so I think I'm going to put the dragonfly here. Okay, that I think is our card done. So there's our original one that I showed you, and there's our second make. And like I said, when it's standing up, you can bring those bits out. I don't know if you can see that, like that. I hope you've enjoyed watching. You can of course shop with me online. Just look me up on createdtheottaway.co.uk, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Bye.